Wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military Manufacturing event. We are thrilled that you have chosen to be with us for the next hour. My name is Lauren Bloomer, and I'm a program manager with the Heroes Make America SkillBridge Training Program. Today, we are featuring a very well-known brand that I know that you have all heard of, but you may not know all of the different business segments and products that they make. Today, we have pharmaceutical and medical device giant Johnson & Johnson. Manufacturing and supply chain is a diverse industry, and events like these help us understand the different segments and identify the various positions that make up the teams responsible for getting things done at these companies. From production operations, quality assurance, maintenance, logistics, and business functions, these companies have it all. Not only are we here to learn more about this company, but these events were designed to facilitate direct connections between our military community and the employees that are looking to hire talent just like yours. So before we jump into today's event, let's review a few quick housekeeping items. First, this event is being recorded and will be sent out as a part of a recap email. Please be sure that you stay muted throughout the presentation to minimize any background noise. And lastly, although our mics are muted, I still encourage you to be an active participant. Utilize the chat feature during the presentation to drop in questions that you have, and we will answer those at the end of the presentation during the Q&A portion. Overall, events like these are your opportunity to join in on the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders you may not normally have access to. So let's go ahead and practice utilizing that chat feature. If you don't mind, go ahead and open it up and drop in the location where you're going to be seeking employment, and also drop in if you know the position or functional area that you're looking at as well. So while you are doing that, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Heroes Make America program, we are a DoD-approved SkillBridge program that is open to transitioning service members, veterans, reservists, National Guard, and military spouses. We provide a variety of certification trainings, equipping our students for rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industries. You can see here our program managers and the 3 training pathways that we offer in manufacturing operations, industrial systems, and logistics. I also have listed our upcoming class dates. We will drop our contact information to the chat so you'll be able to connect with us if you have any questions. And don't forget to tell your battle buddies if you think this program may be a help to them in their post-military career search as well. So last thing I want to make sure to mention, in addition to our SkillBridge offerings, we also host a variety of other virtual events to include these weekly Heroes Connect events, virtual learning series, and also in-person and virtual career fairs. We'll drop the upcoming events and registration links in the chat for you to check out. So, all right, without further ado, I am so excited for all of you to learn about our featured guest. And it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Ebony Howard, Military Sourcing Partner for J&J. Ebony, the floor is all yours.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. As Lauren said, my name is Ebony Howard. Just a little bit about myself. I've been with J&J just over 3 years now. Prior to J&J, I served 23 years in the Air Force. So I too was once on this career search path. And so today, I'm always super excited about these partnerships. And I also, again, thank HMA for connecting us with all of you today. Today, we're going to give you a little bit of information about J&J. To include our military career paths and how you can be a part of this awesome team. Next slide, please. As we get started, I want to introduce you to our team. We have, including myself, 3 individuals here, but we have an entire team dedicated to military talent at J&J. We have Crystal, who is our military talent leader, Teresa, who is our manager for military sourcing, Cindy, who is our program manager for SkillBridge. So wonderful opportunity to talk to her today. Courtney, who is also on the call, part of our team, and Miguel, last but not least, who is our VSAT program manager. Great opportunity, chance to connect today, get to know us, allow us to get to know a little bit about you. And again, just a time to network. We are a small but mighty team dedicated to helping military and the military connected community transition or find jobs within corporate America, specifically J&J. And after this, or coming up next, we are going to show a video about how J&J supports the military connected community. Next slide, please.
For over 130 years, Johnson & Johnson has been dedicated to improving accessibility and creating healthier, happier communities. Their veteran employees know this is more than just a job. It's the ability to continue their commitment to serving people.
What started with only 14 people in 1886 is now a company we rely on for health and beauty products, orthopedics, vaccines, and so much more. Headquartered in central New Jersey, Johnson & Johnson is one of the largest manufacturers of healthcare, medtech, and pharmaceutical products. In a world where innovation breeds success, veterans can bring their unique experiences and strengths to change the trajectory of health for humanity.
Johnson & Johnson was established in 1886 with just 14 employees, 8 women and 6 men. We now have over 134,000 employees and represented in over 60 countries with over 260 operating companies under the J&J brand. Well, it is a very diverse healthcare company, so the opportunities, the career paths are, in my opinion, endless. Everything from manufacturing, supply chain, research and development, as well as sales and marketing opportunities.
I served 20 years in the Navy. I was a nuclear electronic technician, where basically I ran nuclear power plants on board submarines and aircraft carriers. You know, most of us who serve, we have a straight direction of what we do. We know the mission, we're after the mission. Now when you transition to the civilian sector, you're doing something for you. I didn't anticipate coming into this role. It didn't fall on my lap either, but I did my research, looked into it, and I realized, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly the field in which I was taught. What interests me is the challenge, you know, being an engineering technician, making contact lenses, running fully automated machines, utilizing the skills that I learned in the Navy, dealing with servos, PLCs, hydraulic systems. It was just a challenge that I thought that fit what I was looking for.
I joined the Air Force originally, I just wanted to be part-time. And it was just an added benefit to something I've always wanted to do, kind of serve a greater purpose. I think my biggest takeaway from the military is paying attention to detail. Attention to detail is so important in anything you do, and in the workplace is especially important. My current role at Johnson & Johnson is I'm an IDS2. It's infectious disease specialist, and I'm in the HIV division. We meet with providers and just educate them on the pharmaceutical drug that we sell. So I knew nothing about pharmaceutical sales. I had no experience, and this company has really sparked that energy and motivation to be passionate about what I do, and that's helping patients.
For Johnson & Johnson, veterans are purpose-driven and values-based leaders, and that's just like leaders at Johnson & Johnson. We have a tremendous number of programs available to veterans. The first thing is we always have hundreds of available open positions across Johnson & Johnson in the United States, and they can range anywhere from commercial and sales roles to supply chain and logistics to business roles like human resources or finance or IT. But we also have a number of very dedicated veteran-specific pathways into Johnson & Johnson.
One of the reasons service members serve is we want to feel that we're serving for a purpose. And similarly, at Johnson & Johnson, our credo tells us that we need to serve those who need us first, serve the people that we serve first. And service members, find that our credo emulates the same principles that we look for when we served in the first place.
Making the transition to Johnson & Johnson has been the best decision that I've made. I truly believe that this is my home, and I really do encourage others to find their home.
Are you ready for a commitment to serve and better the health of all communities? Visit their website, careers.jnj.com/veterans.
Wonderful. Well, that was a great video. Hi, everyone. I'm Sydney. I'm just going to add a little bit more background and context to some of the information that was just shared in that amazing video. So I know that they kind of ended on specifically our credo. So I do want to take a moment to just touch on that for a second. If you talk to anyone at J&J, they are going to circle back and they are going to mention our credo in some way, shape, or form, because it really is kind of that value and guide system for our decision making here. It really challenges us to put the needs and the well-being of the people we serve first, as they highlighted in that video as well. If you want to go to the next slide, please. And also kind of mentioned was kind of our global scale as well. I do want to just highlight kind of how large of a community we are here at J&J. So we have about 150,000 plus employees across 60 different countries that encompass 260 plus companies. And thanks to their collective expertise, innovative thinking, dedication, we have the ability to touch the lives of more than 1 billion individuals each and every day. Next slide, please. And this slide is just kind of a highlight of some of our innovative medicine and medtech information here. I do want to touch on, just personal growth and professional growth here at J&J as you kind of look at this slide. So the global reach that we have in many different functions that really stretch across every facet of what we do gives us the chance to evolve our skills and roles, help us redefine goals. So really, no matter where you work or what you're doing within J&J, you're ultimately solving important and impactful problems that matter to you. Many of our colleagues, and I'm sure some of the colleagues that I have on this call today, they'll tell you there's so much opportunity to grow and flex professionally here that it really feels like they can take their career in any direction they want. The opportunity to explore new disciplines, really having the ability to chart your own career path gives a lot of career satisfaction. Next slide, please. I want to quickly touch on kind of the new J&J. So this is just highlighting how we launched and separated the publicly traded consumer healthcare company portion of our business and created the new Johnson & Johnson. So the new Johnson & Johnson remains really committed to changing the future of human health. So the pharmaceutical and medtech segments are really united by their shared and complementary focus on scientific research and development to serve similar end users, so our patients and our healthcare providers. And they operate in a similar regulatory and competitive environment. Whereas the new separate consumer health business is really going to be this global leader with a powerful portfolio of iconic brands that I'm sure you know of, and leading positions in self-care, skin health, essential health. This includes baby care, wound care, oral health, etc. So, anywhere from our vaccines to cancer treatments, really the work that we do has the power to impact billions of lives around the world. Next slide, please. Another thing I want to chat through really quickly is just some of the core soft skills that you'll need to really kind of focus on in your impact in your career here at J&J. So one of those is intellectual curiosity, which is really the gateway skill to innovation and creativity. It's what leads people to experiment with new ideas and turn those into breakthroughs in healthcare technology. Another one I want to touch on is emotional intelligence. So we put people's needs at the forefront of everything that we do, which you've heard earlier. From our own teammates to the billions of people we're positively impacting by our innovations. And then resilience, which allows us to persevere through the trial and error of having to learn something new, gives us the courage to find lessons in every experience and really bring what we've learned to the new challenges we face in human health as well. Next slide, please. So let's circle back to J&J and the military connected community. We have a strong legacy of support and engagement with this community. So as you heard earlier in the video, this goes back all the way to the Spanish-American War, is when our company began its support of employees in the military by holding positions for employees and paying salaries while they served. So the company's support continues today with our enhanced military leave policies. And is something you might hear is, General Johnson, which is a name that actually followed him in his civilian career as well. He actually served in World War II and wrote that credo that we briefly spoke about earlier. And finally, our former CEO and current executive chairman, Alex Gorski, is also a huge supporter as well. He's a West Point grad and also served in the US Army. Go to the next slide, please. All right, so let's dig into some military connected career opportunities. So if you want to go to the next slide. So the SkillBridge program, which as Ebony mentioned, this is the program that I personally run here at J&J. So as some of you probably know, J&J SkillBridge is designed specifically for separating United States Armed Forces active duty military service members. As an approved SkillBridge provider, we are able to support 3 to 6 month long internships, emphasizing experiences and high demand capabilities and hiring needs in our businesses during the last 6 months of your service. So this can be anything from supply chain technicians to operations, sales and IT, human resources engineering, project management, you name it. It's going to span a wide range of functional areas. What you'll also see is that there's opportunities across a number of different levels. So analysts, managers, directors, and more. We're the largest and most broadly based healthcare company in the world. So as you can imagine, we have a breadth of opportunities within this realm. SkillBridge roles are also designed to support opportunities for conversion to permanent roles. So at the completion of the program, for successful participants, that's something to think about. And then I also want to note, as you see on this slide, where we are kind of syncing those candidates for the fall within those following locations for SkillBridge. So we are based out of New Brunswick. So we have a few offices in New Jersey, Pennsylvania. We do focus in on kind of the Southwest in California, and you'll see a few cities there. We also have a huge manufacturing facility in Jacksonville, and we also have a location out of Tampa, and then Cornelia as well. And then a few other office locations within the Midwest that we are focusing the SkillBridge program on. And as our available roles change based on the opportunities within our different business units, the best way to get connected about anything SkillBridge related is you can directly reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will also put our inbox in the chat as well. And you can also visit our career site. We do have a SkillBridge application that if you just search SkillBridge when you go to our career site, you can apply directly through there as well. And I'm going to pass it over to Courtney.
Thank you, Sydney. Next slide, please. All right, everybody. I know we've been talking a lot to you lately, so we'll get a little bit interactive. Now, let's talk about our Veteran Sales Pathway Program. We refer to that as VSAP. Now, maybe a quick show of hands, in the chat or on your screen, I know myself when I think about sales, I do have this misconception, and I kind of have this visual in my head of, here's a sales individual, somebody who's kind of lugging a bag around, selling products that they're not really into, and nobody really wants to interact with them. That was kind of my first reaction when I hear sales. I'm not sure if that's yours as well, but here at J&J, that is not the situation. So we have a couple pathways into sales. One would be our Veteran Sales Associate pathway. What this is it is an 18-month program. It's specifically designed for transitioning military. Requirements for this role: you do not need prior sales experience. It does require a minimum of 2 years in the military, also requires a bachelor's degree and a valid driver's license. Now, with these roles, you are coming in, you are having a fairly lengthy onboarding. What your onboarding would look like would be first month, really learning anatomy, physiology. Second month, really learning that product portfolio that you support. Now, with the VSAP program, these are pharmaceutical sales. So think about, prescription medicine, vaccines, those type of things. So really learning about your product portfolio so you can be a true subject matter expert in those products when you're speaking with your physician teams. Third month, you are going out with your onboarding buddy. You're really shadowing, gaining that experience. And then after that, you are on your own. However, you have a team of folks here to support you, lots of tools to support you as well. Now, that is our Veteran Sales Associate pathway. I think a lot of questions that folks ask me are, well, am I getting paid? Yes, you are. You are an employee of Johnson & Johnson. From day one, you are receiving compensation, benefits, etc. So that's a little bit more about the Veteran Sales Associate pathway. I do want to flag our direct hire sales roles as well. If you go onto our career site, you can do a broad search. Typically, what I like to do is just pull up United States, pull up the state that you're in. That gives you kind of a broad search of what's going on in your state. From there, you can get a little bit more granular. You could either go by city, location, or X-nay the city location, just insert the sales. See what roles are available there. We have other direct hire sales roles for transitioning folks. That requirement you will see in the minimum requirements. There will be a bullet that will say, or transitioning military. So you can disregard the sales experience above that. You can take a quick look at that sales role. If you're interested in that sales role, we always encourage you to apply right away. And then shoot us a quick email, either email or connect with us on LinkedIn so we can connect with you. Ebony and myself will learn more about you, your experience, your ideal next chapter, and then we will advocate on your behalf with those hiring teams. And something I do want to touch upon, as a sales associate at Johnson & Johnson, you are very much a consultant. So you're going in and meeting with physicians and their teams, and the approach is, hey, what are your pain points? What's working for you and your patients? What's not? Something uh, something such as, hey, this prescription pill for my chemo patients, like it's too large, like they can't take it. Taking that back to the J&J team, troubleshooting. Then we have our other sales roles, trauma, orthopedics. Those folks, you are scrubbing in the OR. You're beside the physician and their team members. You're helping troubleshoot, any kind of, issues that come up with those placements during the surgical setting. So true consultant, you're really running your own desk, running your own business. Success is truly up to you. So I know I saw a lot of folks who are interested in supply chain, logistics, HR, but I did want to bring the sales roles to your attention as well today. Now, and we touched upon the direct hires. And Ebony, I'll cover this slide if you don't mind. So direct hire roles. Now I mentioned it with the sales roles. Yes, apply, ping us. Same thing with any other roles that you see on our career site. If you're looking for those supply chain roles, those logistics roles, of course, you're going to tailor your resume so it aligns with that job description. go ahead and apply right away. Reason we encourage you to apply right away is because we are not the lead recruiters for these roles. However, we partner with all these recruiting teams. We don't have that insight into when teams are pulling those roles down. So that's why I always say, apply right away so you don't miss that opportunity. Shoot us an email to our inbox, connect with us on LinkedIn. We'll connect with you, create that one pager, that highlight reel of all things you, and then advocate on your behalf. We're also here to do a quick peek of your resume. I don't know about you, but I've never met anybody who's like, I love writing my resume and revising it. Never met someone who said that. So if you need a neutral set of eyes, we're here for that as well. Also to really walk you through the interview process, interview prep, mock interviews, because again, I don't know anybody who says they love interviews. So we're here to support in that way as well. Oftentimes we're here to thought partner. So please know, use us as a resource, whether it's sales, HR, logistics, doesn't matter the role. Apply right away, connect with us so we can advocate for you. Next slide, please. And then I'm going to pass it back to Ebony.
Thank you so much, Courtney and Sydney. That was an awesome brief, and we're going to bring it home. So a lot of times as you're transitioning from the military, or even if you transitioned a while ago and you're just trying to figure out, how do I fit in, right? Sometimes we have those jobs that the title doesn't necessarily transfer to something in corporate America. We have a wonderful tool, Translate Your Skills to Jobs at J&J. You can visit our career site, careers.jnj.com/military, and look for any of the buttons that apply to you, whether it's veteran and currently serving, male spouse, or even a student veteran. You'll put in all of your information. It asks for things depending on your branch of service. It asks for information regarding your MOS or AFSC. You put that in, your background, your education level, your skills, and it'll populate a list of jobs that are currently available that you meet at least the minimum requirement for. So if you're looking for where do I start, there's a perfect place. Once you do that, just like Courtney said, connect with us. We can advocate on your behalf. We can walk you through. We can give you more information on that specific job. Anything that you need, our job is to help you, whether find employment, whether it's with J&J or not. Our end goal is just gainful employment for the military connected community. Next slide, please. And then, as Courtney said, is two things you should take away from here. One, our career site, you can search any job that you're interested in, anything that we talked about today, whether it's sales associate or skill bridge, as well as join our talent hub. The talent hub is important because, again, it allows you to put in your information, and then you're in our database. So if we're sourcing and we're looking for someone with the logistics background in this specific area, your name should come up. But it also notifies you on jobs that are within your area of interest when they become available. That's really important because our jobs on J&J are only required to be posted for a minimum of 7 days. So you have to move quickly. The sooner you know about the job, the sooner you can apply, and reach out to us. And again, we can help and walk through. Next slide, please. And last but not least, connect with us on LinkedIn. We're always willing to connect, have a quick coffee chat, go through your resume, talk about the skill bridge opportunities, whatever it is that you need, we're available. So connect with us. It's also a good way to get notified of various events that's happening, as well as for those individuals that are interested in remote opportunities. I'll tell you, there's not a lot out there, but we do post remote hot jobs every so often. So you'll get them hot off the press. And I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. We've dropped a lot of information in the chat, whether it's our LinkedIn address or how to connect with us regarding our org box email account, as well as that translate your skills function on our website. So I guess now we're opening it up to questions. So if you have any, please let us know. Or Lauren, you go for it.
Yes, most definitely. I'll give a second to get the rest of the team brought up here. Just thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I was going to look here and see if there were any specific questions that were dropped into the chat. And while I'm looking through that, just where we do have a really broad attendance today from the community, and people are at different points in their transition from the military, maybe out of the military, maybe even military spouses. When you're looking at the range of when they should start applying, what do you recommend? How far from that start date should they start applying?
I would say as soon as possible. Quite honestly, go ahead, start applying now, start making those connections now. This job market is a bit wild. So go ahead, start making that now. Also, in the world of recruiting, we are not known to move exceptionally fast. So go ahead. If you see a role, go ahead, apply right away, flag Ebony and myself, or reach out to our inbox. And we can definitely partner that way. And I do also want to share this. There are often times where folks will apply and they're rejected. Keep us in the loop, because I've had candidates where we just rework that resume and then apply and we move forward with the next step. So whether it's applying, getting rejection, applying, moving through the interview process, we're here for all of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Courtney. And I see Danielle had asked in the chat, who is the point of contact for the SELF program? And Ms. Ebony responded that you can reach out directly to her, interested specifically in the SELF pathway. Ms. Ebony, I know that you're typing. I see you typing, so I apologize for interrupting you. But I had a question for you, just where you work with the military community. Well, all three of you ladies work with the military community a lot. Throughout our Heroes program, we like to equip our participants with the skills they need for interviews, 30-second pitch, resumes, things like that. What to do, but what not to do. What are some common mistakes that you're seeing the military candidates making coming through?
Wow, that's a question that we get often. More so than common mistakes, we can give you more so resume pointers, because everyone is different. One thing that I love to make sure that I tell individuals is, your job translates to something. Please don't dumb it down in an effort to try to make it fit into civilian speak, as we say, civilian language. So I'm a firm believer in Chat GPT. Find out what it translates to. It's okay, right? We use it as well. Anytime I have to draft an email or I'm looking for something, I go to Chat GPT and I'm like, hey, draft an email on this. Give me some pointers. But make sure that you are highlighting your leadership, those transferable skills. A lot of times you sell yourself short by saying, oh, I'm not familiar with this industry. But you have a lot of transferable skills that you learn in the military. So highlight the problem solving, the critical thinking, depending on the level in which you're applying, strategic thinking, people management, that's huge. And when you're writing your resume, also make sure you include those accomplishments. A lot of times we see individuals that are saying, I'll use mine as an example, military functional manager, and give a job description versus what they actually did in that role. You want to be able to quantify your accomplishments within the military. That's huge. You want to show that you bring value to whatever job you're applying to, and this is how you fit in. I'm going to pass it over to Courtney and Sydney to add to that, because they review resumes as well.
Absolutely. And I think, there's a couple pointers here. I do see folks in general keeping things very high level. And what I love to see as a recruiter, when I immediately open a resume and I see any kind of numbers or data, And in that resume, bells and whistles are going off in my recruiter brain in a good way, because immediately I'm thinking, oh, this is a data-driven individual. That's what employers are wanting to see. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've asked, tell me about a time when you use data to influence, or tell me about a time where you identified a pain point in data. Those are questions employers are wanting to hear answers to. So that's my first response. Second response is, the data in those bullet points tell me the impact of your work. So let's say, you know, prior to implementing the project or program you were leading, efficiency was at 25%. Afterwards, it was 85%. Wow. I am truly able to see the impact that you're making. So definitely provide those specific examples, sprinkling that data around it. And some things to kind of get you thinking about the interview process. Whether you have interviews on the calendar or not, you can start getting prepped now. One, that elevator speech, write it down. If you're not happy with it, or you're like, what other options might I have? Pop over to ChatGPT, see what they kick out to you, add your voice, add your flavor to that. And then think about highlights from your career that you know you want to speak to in that interview. Write those down, put them in that STAR framework. That way they're ready to go. Another interesting point I will come across in my years of recruiting is, you know, folks not researching the company, you know, so please do your research. You know, or for example, you know, hopping on a call with somebody and somebody's like, oh, I love the baby products. Well, we don't have them anymore, you know, so that's a clear indicator that you haven't done your research. So whether it's us, whether it's other companies, definitely go to their website, see their about section, there's news section, do a quick little Google research, just so you can be able to speak to those. And then in terms of J&J, our credo, I feel like, to set yourself up for success, really read through that credo, identify points that really resonate with you and your personal mission, and be able to speak to that throughout the interview process. I feel like that's going to set you up for success, and that's going to set you apart from other candidates as well. So that was pretty windy. Let me pass it over to Sydney to see if she has anything else to add.
Yeah, I feel like both of you touched on so many great things. So I can't, speak to, enough of what you've said. I will say it, and I might sound like a broken record. For every different application you are putting in for that job requisition, tie your resume to those requirements, right? Again, I'm sure I sound like a broken record. This is probably what every recruiter has said. But you really do want to tailor it, because, it's likely it's not going through a human to pass the test, so to speak. It is going through a computer system. It is looking for those highlighted words, and ChatGPT, again, is a really great resource to take that job requisition and then put your resume in, and you can actually line by line kind of go through and see how it's matching, and ask ChatGPT to do its best to kind of relay your resume in the best way that it can to that job rec. So if there's anything that I can take away from that, I would say that would be the biggest thing, on top of what these ladies have already mentioned, which I can't speak to enough.
Awesome. That's three wonderful answers. Thank you so much for that. And I see, I'm looking through some of the questions here in the chat. And just because, Courtney, you did specifically bring it up of researching the company, one of the questions was, do you have other brands that fall under J&J? Do they have their own career websites? So I know, the division of your portfolio is a little newer. So the division of the consumer brands, like your baby lotions and things that we know on the day-to-day, they are a completely different entity under a completely different website now, correct? Okay, perfect.
That is
So-
correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. It falls under Kenvue now, our consumer goods, and that they hire totally different. We are specific to J&J and its two entities as far as innovative medicine and medtech.
Perfect, perfect. I see where you answered that under there as well. So thank you so much. So, and I see also, and I'll ask the question, I see that you're doing a wonderful job answering the questions in the chat, Miss Ebony. Thank you so much. But if they have a specific location that they know is close to them, like somebody saw one specifically there in Massachusetts that's close to them, does each location have a veteran representative or a veteran recruiter, or would you still be the team to reach out to for each location they're interested in?
Yes, we would be the team. If you are looking to connect with someone, we do have ERG groups, employee resource groups, and we have an awesome veteran leadership council, which I'm wearing the shirt today. And it consists of veterans or military supporters within J&J that are always happy to connect. I'm a firm believer, look up, you do a search on LinkedIn. One, you can connect with us. That's hands down for anything that you need. But if you're looking for people in a specific area or a specific job function, search LinkedIn, type in VSAP or innovative medicine, Johnson & Johnson, see who comes up, look at their background, see if they're a veteran themselves, and reach out to them on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised at how many people are willing to connect and talk and speak and just tell you about their experience with J&J. That's really huge because networking, I mean, we talk about it all the time. The job market right now is insane. Networking is going to be key. So the more you know, the more people that know you is always going to be a good help.
I love it. So there's another question in the chat that is it's asking specifically about co-op roles. So if they're working on, I think the original question was for they're working, so they're a graduate student, they're a veteran and they're a graduate student. Are there any programs that are flex or co-op style programs where they understand the person is in college and going to school, but also it can get that professional experience as well within J&J?
We do have veteran co-ops and programs as well. It's very similar to any kind of direct hire role. Let's go ahead, apply. And maybe before you apply, if you want to connect with us, just so we can take a quick peek at your resume, make sure it's aligning with the verbiage in that specific job description for that co-op, for that program. Also, we can learn more about you, apply, and then we can also advocate on your behalf. So it works with co-ops, internships as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And as far as organizations, Ms. Ebony kind of just alluded to it with the polo, the nice shirt that she's wearing today, but creating your perimeter, if you will, once you get within a company, say they are hired on, and it is a big transition, you're in a different space, making that adjustment to civilian employment. Do you have ERGs and things like that that do help with that adjustment period?
You want me to take it, Ebony? Okay, we do have multiple ERGs for the military community and beyond. But also I will share this with you. You have your lead, you have a team behind you to help support you during that onboarding, during that mentorship. Folks understand, hey, this is a different swim lane than you've been in before. And so we have that support system built in, those tools, whether it's, one-on-one mentorship, your onboarding buddy, whether it's live classes that you're taking virtually or in office, whether it's self-paced trainings, you really have a solid support system. And something I also want to flag as well. Sorry. My dog. My dogs are playing with my kids' toys. Okay, that's better. Or it's not. Something I do want to flag is J&J's internal mobility. So that's what I see a lot at Johnson & Johnson, and I haven't seen a lot of at other companies. So oftentimes, folks will be in a role for a year and a half, 2 years, and they're like, hey, I really want to grow. I want to stretch. So for example, I've seen folks in sales roles pivot to marketing. There's no defined trajectory. Your trajectory is really defined by you and your interests. So what we have is called grow assignments. And with those assignments, you can go into other teams. You can really work, get embedded in those teams, see if, hey, this is where my next chapter wants to be, or hey, I thought it might be, but it's not. So much internal mobility as well. I did want to flag that because that is one thing that it's pretty impressive and I don't see a lot of. Also, thanks for for bearing with my dogs and my kids' toys.
Remote work makes interesting situations sometimes. So it's just fine, just fine. So now so another question from the chat, maybe kind of touching on the difference between preferred, um, preferred and required, because things that are required for a position. I'm sorry, my mind turning to home, thinking about home balance, work-life balance and all that, got my mind in a tizzy there. But it says, as far as certain requirements for a position, what are some requirements that are more lenient than others?
So lenient, right? The only leeway you have is when it's preferred. If it is listed as a required qualification, then you have to have that, no questions asked, no, alternate. It is what it is. The preferred is where you have a little more flexibility, right? So you might be going for a project management job, and in that required, it will say, a 4-year degree. It could be very specific into what type of degree. And then under preferred, it might say PMP certification. So that means you don't necessarily have to have your PMP, but it's an added benefit if you do. Um, so that's how you should look at the job. If as long as you meet those minimum required elements, you should apply for the job. If there's anything that you're missing under the required, then it's probably not exactly a great fit for you. But that just means contact us and we'll find something that is a great fit for you. So don't lose hope. But a lot of times those required qualifications are pretty solid.
And Courtney, I wanted to circle back around with something that you had kind of touched on in your answer just previous to that about being flexible and being able to go into different roles within the company. So if they join, let's say logistics, they join in a logistics role, but they really were interested in, the sales pathway. Is there a certain amount of time that they must stay into a role before they're able to apply to be a part of a different team?
Absolutely. It's typically a year and a half, correct, Ebony? Yeah, year and a half in a role, and then you're able to pivot. Now, with the VSAP program, you would need to finish that 18-month program. Or if you're in a co-op, you're needing to finish that co-op. But with direct hire roles, it's that year and a half mark where you're like, hey, you know what? I've always had an interest over here. I'd love to learn more. So that's when you're really talking with your lead. Your lead is truly here to help you get to your next chapter. Half of your conversations are about your core role. How is it going? Any pain points? How can I support? But the other part of your conversations are about where are you going? Where is your next chapter? They're there to thought partner. They're there to align you with opportunities to set you up for success for that new chapter. So yeah, year and a half.
Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
I was I just wanted to add that's one of the things that I love about J&J. And I love the military as well. But in the military, your career path is very structured, right? You know that if you want to get to this next rank, these are the boxes that you have to check. What I love about J&J is it allows you to flex, to move, to say, I want to explore other options. And they're very supportive with that. When I came in, I tell my story all the time. I came in, I did not have my 4-year degree when I came to J&J, and I was hired as an executive assistant. I had my manager sit down with me and she's like, look, where do you want to go? Because I don't see you in this role past 18 months. What do you want to do? And I'm like, oh, wow, someone's asking me what I want to do when I grow up. This is great. So I told her, and she gave me all the steps to make that happen. So I went from being an EA, which was very familiar to me. I did that 23 years in the Air Force, to being on in talent acquisition as a military talent sourcing partner, which I love, by the way. But just the opportunities that are available to you is, they're great. So you don't have to stay in one area. You can pivot as much as you want within that 18, after doing that 18-month stint.
Perfect. That's so wonderful to hear. I know oftentimes that is kind of a stressor, a pain point. As they're transitioning out of the military, they want to try something different, but sometimes it's just getting your foot in the door at a company and then moving your way up. Would you say that that's true, Ms. Ebony?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Sometimes maybe getting a position, getting your foot in the door with the skills and talents that you're bringing from your time in service is a way to get in, and then moving within the company would be a good way to look at their journey.
Definitely, yes. Capitalize on what you learned in the military. And like I said, don't sell yourself short. Look, that translate your skills tool is awesome. Put in everything that you did in the military. We have those roles. Like I said, whether you're a sniper or EOD, you're like, how does that translate? Use that to your advantage, but also think about the skills that you had to learn to master that specific job. You can easily work under pressure, right? EOD, you have to be able to think critically. You have to be able to make decisions on the fly, and trust your own judgment. All of those are transferable skills that we look for in J&J. So again, just don't sell yourself short. Look at where, coming into a familiar space as far as using the skills that you used in the military and then pivoting. It's possible.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think I see Fort Stewart, you have your hand raised. If you want to go ahead and unmute and ask a question, we'd love to have you. Sometimes the technology directly in the classroom can be a little tricky.
Lauren, are you ready for our question?
Yep, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. We're gonna have a hard time hearing. We have one student with a question for you, ma'am.
How you doing? Good afternoon. So I saw you have multiple locations for J&J, but I have a question on any additional skills or requirements to apply for a job outside the US.
So, you said applying for like an international assignment?
Yes.
So normally, you'll see we are a global company, so everything is listed on our website. Normally within the company, if they're looking for someone, say in Germany, they're most likely going to hire someone that's already located in Germany. There are opportunities once you're in the company to do overseas assignments, but they don't normally hire in the US for a position in Germany or wherever outside of the US. It's one of those things with time in the company. You can easily apply and transfer. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. That works.
Perfect.
Good deal. I know we have time for maybe one more question here. If somebody wants to unmute and ask or drop it in the chat. Been so many wonderful questions today. So truly appreciate both of your time, Ms. Sydney and Ebony.
I actually have one question.
Sure.
It might kind of be on topic, might kind of not be off topic, but so I've been looking at job opportunities through LinkedIn, Indeed, and whatnot. A lot of these places require it require like a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. For somebody like me who has been in for about since 2017, but doesn't have like an associate's or a bachelor's. I got my high school degree. What would be, I guess, your guys's advice for somebody that's kind of in my predicament? Would you still put in the resume with those positions, or would you consider like possibly going down like the college route later on?
Yeah, I am happy to touch on this. And this kind of circles back to the required and those preferred qualifications, right? So if you see on, for example, a J&J job application that it is required to have a bachelor's degree, then that's something that will need to be on the resume. Because again, it's going through that computer system and it's going to line by line kind of look, are those requirements met from that level before pushing it through for a recruiter to review. Now, as Ebony mentioned, I mean, she didn't have her 4-year degree coming into J&J, and there are opportunities within J&J where you do not need a 4-year degree. So you can definitely take a look at those. Now, if it's something where you're consistently seeing in kind of the career path that you're wanting to go, that there is a need for that degree, then that might be something to consider for the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great question, Brandon. So another question, I'm glad that Ms. Ebony just dropped the employee benefits, but let's say that, let's touch on that just a little bit, because they're kind of asking about medical benefits and holidays and accrued days, time off, things like that. Let's say somebody did join the company who got into a position that didn't require a degree, wanted to move into a position that did. Well, somebody might have their GI Bill benefits. Are there any education benefits that J&J offers to help them get that degree so they can move into another position?
We have educational benefits. I mean, we have so many benefits. That's another thing that attracted me to J&J. They do offer where they do employee reimbursement for education, and that can be used for college certifications, like for the HR professional, your SHRM certification. All of those things can be covered under our employee reimbursement for educational assistance. So aside from that, we have so many other time off, paid time off. I was like, what's paid time off, right? And I'm like, it's time off. It's not called leave. It's called vacation. Oh, I like that. But everything from, like I said, your paid time off, the medical, dental, vision benefits. One thing that really, again, attracted me was I wear glasses and contacts, right? So one of our benefits, because we do manufacture AccuView contact lenses, is you are able to get a year's supply of contact lenses as long as they're AccuView under our vision care plan. I'm like, wow, who can't, you can't beat that. That's awesome. But there's so many benefits. I just dropped the link in the chat. I will say they are dependent on the job as well. So some do offer, for instance, if you go into a sales role, there's the opportunity to have a company car. So, or if you don't choose the company car, you get a maintenance package for your car. So it just really depends on the role as far as what the benefits are that's associated with your employment. But they are comprehensive. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's been a great session. I hate to be the one to reel it in and on, because I think we've had a lot of wonderful conversations. Gained a lot of wonderful knowledge today about Johnson & Johnson. But any last words really quick from either one of you while we are wrapping it up?
Do you have anything, Sydney?
No, this has just been really wonderful. So thank you for allowing us to come and speak to this wonderful group of people. And thank you all for, taking the time to join us for an hour today.
Yes. And I would like to echo that. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to us. That is what we are here for, to help. Don't feel like we've heard it all, trust me. And I probably asked them the exact same questions on my journey, on my career journey. So please reach out to us, whether it's through LinkedIn or through our org box, and we are happy to help. We'll schedule time, a one-on-one career discussion, so we can really deep dive into your specific requirements and what you're looking for as far as your career path. And good luck.
Thank you so, so much. We truly appreciate you being here today and being wonderful supporters of the Heroes Make America program and the military community as a whole. Let's see here. If you don't mind, a quiz popped up, a little poll popped up on your screen, if you don't mind taking that very quickly. And you will get a recording of this session as well. I know Ms. Renee was so gracious and dropped in the contact information in the chat one more time, so grab that. And let's see here, just next steps very quickly. Of course, technology. Next steps. So join us here, same time, same location next week. We're going to be preparing you for virtual career fairs and give you some best tips and practices to that. But also treat this as the beginning of the conversation. Don't treat this as, okay, I've spoken, I've got this information. This is just the beginning. Please connect with these individuals, connect with J&J on LinkedIn, cruise their career website. Just take in all the resources that you can and make these connections and just build on it from there. But I hope that everybody has a wonderful afternoon. We appreciate you joining us. And again, thank you so much to Ms. Cindy and Ms. Ebony, and please extend our gratitude to Ms. Courtney as well. But I hope that everybody has a wonderful afternoon.